Hello, all you folks out there in Radio Land. Put on your dancing shoes. Gather round, 'cause I've got a treat for you. Coming to you live from our studios.
I'm a huge skeptic. I'm always wary of people. Maybe I got that cynical side from my dad. Or maybe I got it from the struggles I've encountered. Danny, my fiance, has been the only person I've truly let in. When I meet most people, I take what they say with a grain of salt, and I never expect a follow-through from anything they say. That's how I guard my heart. However, Danny and I have been traveling the 50 states of America, and the way that we travel forces us to depend on others. We have no means for transportation other than hitchhiking, and if we weren't sleeping outside, we crash on the couches of inviting strangers. Our first trek was from Fresno, our hometown, to the nearest beach, Santa Cruz. Our first ride was so exhilarating. Everything was so new. Everything was such an adventure.
We're in the back of a truck. It's our first ride. We have to lay down so he doesn't get a ticket. We're getting a ride out to Madera area, Avenue 12, so that we can catch the 99 to Santa Cruz. Danny?
That's right. So if you can see, we're in the back of a truck. Here we go.
We prepared for 22 weeks before we left on our grand adventure. But we really had no way to truly prepare for it. We didn't know how emotional it would be. We had no idea how we would react to truly roughing it, to sitting in our own filth, to never knowing when our next good night's sleep or meal would come from. It was exhausting. When we made it to Santa Cruz, we floundered for a bit. We were afraid of sleeping anywhere at the time, especially in a big city like Santa Cruz. So we sprung for a hostel, and I'm glad we did, because we met interesting people, Georgie, also known as Ox, being one of them. He decided to hang out with us for the day. He had a good vibe. You could tell he had a kind heart. He was from Alaska and had a yurt building business. He was in Cali for work, but was heading back soon for another gig. He exchanged contact info with us. I honestly figured it would be the last time we ever saw him. To me, it was just another fluke crossing of paths. Especially being so new to the traveling game, I honestly didn't know what to expect from a random meeting such as this one. Me still being the skeptical person I am, I did my best to stay positive. He went street performing with us in the streets of Santa Cruz. Danny doesn't usually like tag-alongs while he performs, but Ox actually added a really cool dynamic to the whole thing. Like I said, cool vibes. He would burn these little pieces of wood that he would collect on jobs. They smelled so good, an earthy smell, better than incense. He burnt one while Danny played. He would always buy extra food when he ate and hand out the extra food to homeless people. Pretty cool if you ask me. We hit up Sub Rosa Cafe together after that, and then that's when he started getting word from home about his flight back to Alaska. That's the last we saw of him. We parted ways. We were on our way down to San Diego for my sister's wedding. Over the next 8 months, we traveled California, Oregon, Washington, Idaho, the British Columbia of Canada, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, and then headed to Florida for the winter. Florida put us both in a weird place. We felt like we were floundering again, only this time much worse. We decided to walk the entire coast, and man, was it difficult. It was hot and muggy, and we really didn't ever have anywhere to sleep. We walked about 100 miles. I think our tired feet, filthy bodies, and no sense of direction made us begin to fight.
Stop! Video recording me for one.
And then
There is no fountain there. There was no fountain, and I thought we were walking into the middle of nowhere. We had no water.
But what was your response to that, though?
There was no fountain, goddammit.
I mean, I get why we were fighting. We were really roughing it. Our first day, we walked 20 to 30 miles. We were so tired, we put our bags in a shopping cart and walked across town like that. We began to judge ourselves and question what we were doing. Later that night, we slept in an alleyway. We were floundering. There was only one good part of the pilgrimage, when Tom saw us walking on the side of the road and picked us up. Being a fellow traveler himself, he said we looked exhausted and wanted to help. He bought us a hand truck and invited us to stay with him. He probably would have gotten us anything we felt we needed to continue our trek. He understood what we were doing, like truly understood. We heard stories later from his kids about him, that he used to make travel happen for their family.
This is gonna be so good.
We showered days of sweat and alleyway dirt off of us and ate the freshest fish and the best homemade miso soup I have ever had. It was like falling up to heaven from hell. Falling up. Tom introduced us to his son Evan and his daughter Bonnie, who took us kayaking the next day. I didn't realize how weak my arms are. I need to do some push-ups. Evan and Bonnie are magical thinkers too. Evan being a crazy metal drummer and Bonnie being a traveler herself. We spent the day together. It was full of wonderful conversations, but for some reason we felt we had to keep walking. I guess we wanted to struggle. It made sense at the time. After a few more nights, we got a message from back home that we had to report back for a court hearing. I think we were both secretly thankful for it. We were tired of struggling. We were tired of fighting. We were just plain tired.
Mosquitoes attack.
Mosquitoes attack.
Right there. Her hand.
You can't really see, but it's like they're seriously like covered in bites. Like I woke up in the middle of the night because I heard and I look over and like there's just this swarm of mosquitoes trying to get into our thing and like eating us through the mesh of our tent. Ate me alive, so I scoot down a little bit further and literally like covered myself with a sleeping bag, but then it began to sweat. You could see them like swarming and they were big. These are the biggest mosquitoes I've ever seen. And they're trying to get in the tent. They're everywhere here. Oh my god.
All on my feet, all on my ankles, like I can feel them on my back somehow. I think when we were walking, I got them on my back. We got tore up.
Danny wanted a break from the relationship. He felt lost in his own thoughts, and I think I did too. So I headed to San Diego and he stayed in Fresno. In hindsight, it was so good for us. I felt emotional about the separation. I felt so sad and lost. I kept wondering what I did wrong. Once I dried my eyes and got to work, I refound myself. In all the chaos of the struggle, I found my voice again. And in the midst of it all, Ox, the man we met in Santa Cruz, contacted us through Facebook. He requested we come up to Alaska for the spring to work with him and his business. He has a spare room and plenty of jobs for us. He also found Danny a gig and requested I do some videos for some of their projects. So we bought plane tickets. We'll be flying to Anchorage and traveling the rest of the way to Homer. Danny and I spent hours on the phone talking about what we would have done differently. I think in the end, we both realized that we need to accept each other for what and who we really are. We can't be the same person. We are two halves to one whole. We make different choices for a reason, because we think differently, and that's a good thing. After we purchased our tickets to Anchorage, I packed up for cold weather and hopped a bus to Fresno. We reunited.
I'm on my way to pick up Allison right now. She's getting in on the Greyhound, so this is like really, really exciting. We kind of needed to let the dust settle and clear our minds a little bit. We learned a lot in Florida, and I really love that saying that the darkest part of a night is just before the sunrise, and I think that Allison and I really came into that.
Next time we take a break, I hope it isn't as long. Danny is my soulmate. I see him in my future, in my life forever. He makes me want to be a better person, to be more vulnerable and let people into my life, to be less of a skeptic. So next stop is Alaska, and we'll be building yurts and living in one too, with no electricity or running water. We'll be saving up money and capturing the lives of Alaskans. We can't wait to share with you the state of Alaska and the magical thinkers that live there.